got the RDM t-shirt on.
That's right, mate. I won't hold against you, Pete. Just 100 push-ups.
Osaka.
Osaka. We're moving out into Osaka. There'll be an RDM in Osaka, mate, by 2021. Some of the Japanese dads on board. Cracker, mate. Awesome. Well, Pete, mate, thank you for joining me. Yes.
Thanks for having me, mate.
That's right. Welcome to Real Dad Movement Podcast, everyone. This is Al, Big Al, and I've got Pete, special guest with us today. Pete's one of the founding fathers of RDM, and he's a legend of a guy and a true leader within the group, and obviously within his own family, and continues to inspire us and get the most out of us as well as himself in, what's it been now, Pete? Maybe nearly 9 months since we spoke on the first 8 months?
8 months was November. So
November.
Early November. So.
There we go.
Yep.
Time flies when you're having fun, mate, hey?
That's it. My arms are feeling it.
Yeah, arms are feeling it. That's right. The last 8 months. We just say everyone, the RDM protocol, just so people out there know, is we just do arm curls every single day. So 8 months down the track, Pete's arms are a little bit sore now from the training program. Unreal. Well, look, Pete, thanks for joining us, mate. Love to start with yourself and a little bit of your journey, mate. You spoke because we have connected. I flew down to Melbourne a while ago and we got in touch, mate, which was awesome, and got to hang out in person, in the flesh. And you told me about some things you encountered and what you went through when you were younger. I'd love you to touch on that, mate. Both what it feels like as well for yourself, mate, losing your parents at such a young age and travelling the world, mate.
Yep. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Al. Yeah, well, I'm 50 now, so I'll start from there, but we'll wind back. But I lost Mum when I was about 15 and Dad when I was 18, 19, so both from cancer. I suppose that's a critical part of my life. Before then, I was the youngest of 6 kids. I still am, but I think being the youngest, you're always spoiled and getting looked after pretty well. But I think having that period of my life was when I changed a lot from being someone who was fairly dependent on others to becoming fairly independent or dependent on myself. So, and I was at university at the time that Dad passed away, so I got to spend some time with him. As a good university student, wasn't at uni all the time. So it was a pretty special part of me, even though he was critically ill, is to get to know my dad better at the time. And when he passed away, I think I finished my uni course, but I partied a bit, I suppose. There was no borders. There was a bit of rebellion. There was a bit of, I suppose, feeling sorry for myself. But I don't always reflect that in being depressed and down. I think I reflected that at the time of just going out and having a good time. And culminated in when I finished university, I took off overseas for a while and backpacked through India and I started in Thailand, went to India, went to Nepal, went to Pakistan, and spent a year backpacking. Then came back, had about $200 to my name, and started building up my own career. And since then, I think I've had a fierce independent of myself. Sometimes reluctant to have others in. Sometimes being about my own company. But I enjoy friends. But there's always been that guarded protection. My 20s just worked, still enjoyed myself. I suppose it wasn't until I travelled overseas, put your piece back in, started building up my career as an engineer.
Yeah, what was that like, mate, just before you dived into becoming an engineer, like travelling around and travelling around parts of the world at such a young age as well?
Look, I think it was great. I think a lot of kids should do it. I think at 19, 20, it's a perfect time to do it because you're stupid enough not to fear it, not to be worried about things.
Yeah.
But it just teaches you that there's a bigger world out there. There's how to be independent. You've got to look after yourself, right? There was no one providing funds to me. I had to sort that out for myself. I had to meet people. I met friends, then I'd go off and travel by myself, and it forced me to get out there and meet other people too in different cultures, and I think that's paid me well too in regards to how I can connect with others. When you're in a remote place in Pakistan, and you've got to get to know the locals around Pakistan, and you find out they're beautiful people, and it's great. And we're all human beings, and that's one of the things that you learn when you get out there and find out it's a great big world out there outside of your little country town you grew up in.
Yeah, that's incredible, mate. And Pakistan as well. Not many people would have been there or will probably ever go there. It's definitely stands out as something different to the norm of just going to USA or an island like Fiji or Hawaii for holidays, being in Australia. But
Yeah, look, I loved it, mate. It was one of the favourite places to go. And it was because of the ruggedness and the remoteness of the place.
Unreal, mate. And were there any meetings or interactions or anything that stands out in your times when you did travel? In terms of engaging with other people, anyone in particular, or anything with the culture or the food, or
yeah, look, I think the generosity of people. I remember backpacking, hitchhiking up in Pakistan. I was trying to head up to a mountain region, so I thought I'd walk up there. I got picked up by a busload of what happened to be school teachers heading up that way, and they picked me up. They barely spoke English, and my Urdu was non-existent. So, but they took me to their favourite spot up in the mountains. We had lunch together. They showed me around. They brought me home. You know, I was just this foreign person. They didn't have to do that. There was another time I was on a train in India. I was heading up to Amritsar and leaving from Delhi. And there was some blokes talking to me. And this young guy came up, he's 16. He sat next to me and said, "Oh, can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, they're planning to rob you when you make it to the next station." Really? He said, "Yep." I said, "Come and sit with my father and my family." So I went and sat with them. And ended up spending the night at their house in Amritsar and their family and having dinner. And
jeez,
I think I learn a lot about the human race and the good things about the human race. I mean, the news features lots of bad things, but I've found in my time, in my travels, there's a lot more good people than there are bad.
yeah, absolutely, mate. And that's pretty good having someone like that look up. Who is they, mate? Were they just a group of people who were planning on robbing you or something, or what's?
Yeah, they were. They're just they were going to at the next train station. Basically, what they do is they crowd you, and then basically when you're not looking, the bags are gone, and they're gone.
Wow, jeez.
They keep you occupied by doing something else.
Yeah.
There just happened to be this young kid, 16, and his dad, who were nearby, who decided to intervene. So,
yeah. Gee, that's nice, mate. And you're spot on there, Pete. There's a lot more good than bad in the world, but sometimes we hear the loud minority instead of the silent majority, don't we, mate? Especially in mainstream.
That's it. And the news just feeds us the bad news, never the good news.
Yeah, that's right, mate. But pretty amazing though, mate. And then what, you got into engineering and then once you got home, started to build a career for yourself?
That's right. That's it. So I started in mechanical engineering. Started a company called Deutz and diesel engines, and then eventually joined Holden and got into design and went through different engineering aspects at Holden, and then eventually through various career changes within Holden got into design, and that's where I am now. And we design cars for the world, and I head up the engineering department in design and love it.
Wow, that's unreal, mate. So literally designing cars, like the shapes, the engines, all that sort of stuff.
That's the exterior and interior, full interiors, mainly for GM products around the world.
So, Jeez, mate. You be able to design a big red car, you reckon, mate, for me? Or it's
a big red car.
Like a luxury car, but with monster truck wheels or something?
I will do a big dual wheel, a big red...
Oh, mate. And then some big red kangaroos painted either side, mate.
That's right.
Wow, that's incredible, mate. And pretty amazing a job and a career. And how long have you done that for now, Pete?
I've been at Holden now for 20 years, but I suppose I've been engineering a lot longer than that. I mean, the thing with a corporation like this is that you can move around and have many different jobs within one corporation. Feel like you've done. I'm not the sort of person who can sit there doing the same thing for 10 or 20 years, but I suppose in 20 years I've had 6 or 7 different positions, and that's what I've loved about it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So you've got an established career with that, and then before that, travelling around to different parts of the world that some of us may never see, mate. Quite some intimate, exotic places. And then where does meeting the love of your life and fatherhood come into all of that, mate?
Oh, okay. And once I finish off in work, is it's also given me the chance to travel all over the world too. And I've been to all over Asia, US quite a number of times. Got to live in Japan for quite a while.
Yep.
It's been great. But where did I meet my lovely Megan? Megs and I were friends actually, and then I did. I remember exactly. I was single. She was single. I'd just come back from doing Everest Base Camp with a couple of friends, and I suppose friends became more than friends at a party a couple of weeks after that, and I think it's been an awesome foundation for our relationship because she was my best friend, she was my best friend, and having that connection and with your wife, I think, is extremely important because it helps you through the good times and the bad times.
Yeah.
And we've got 2 kids, Olivia and Will. Olivia turns, well, she's 7, she'll turn 8 this year, and Will's 5, will turn 6.
Mm.
So I'm an older dad, which is part of the reason why RDM has served a great purpose for me. But we'll get into that.
Yes.
That's fairly much. And the kids love them, and they came over to Japan with us. And, it's been great. So.
Yeah, that's awesome, mate. And yeah, a little bit of an older dad. What's that like, mate? What's the reason, and how do you feel that's both been a help and a hindrance in being older, but a bit wiser, but obviously a little bit older than the norm for other people having children?
I think it's 50. I think it's give or take, man. So yeah, I'd love to be in my 50s and being a grandparent, but I also know there's a whole heap of things I did in my 20s I wouldn't have done if I had kids, and into my 30s. So I don't regret anything. I've got 2 beautiful kids, but being an older parent, you're definitely aware of your fitness and your ability to keep up with them, especially as they get to about this age. And that's, I think, the biggest thing. You've got to. They keep you young mentally, but physically you've got to make sure you keep yourself young because they need your energy. You can't just sit there and tell them to go out and play. You need to be part of their life, and be part of their life, you need to be running around and doing everything they want you to do. So.
Yeah, what's the alternative, mate, if you don't?
That's, well, you cannot neglect them and they'll end up hating you. But it's not a choice. My choice priority in life is my kids and my wife, and everything else comes under that. So, and that's how I felt about since having kids. I think it's the best thing I've done in life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fairly weird because I don't know what it'd be like to be a younger dad, and also know that I probably wouldn't have Will and Olivia if I was a younger dad. So it is what it is.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and you're right, mate. It's father, I feel, is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life, and it's not just holding them in your arms or playing with them. It's who it forges you to become, mate, in that process and that journey. And your kids obviously are older than mine at the moment, but at the moment they'll always remain older than mine. Mine can age quicker. Well, I'll tell you what, Stella's nearly 3, going on 33. It's very driven.
It's the same, mate. Olivia's 7, going on 17.
70, yeah, that's right. The little bosses, mate, they're unreal. But talk to us, mate. So what? Obviously, you reached out to RDM. What was it like, the first call we had and everything that went down? And I guess the reason behind you reaching out and responding to my initial call for fathers to join this movement.
Well, for a couple of years, like back in my 30s, I was fairly fit, and I had goals like doing Everest Base Camp that used to drive me to get fit. Then after I did that, I'd sort of not exercise as much. I think that was my routine in life, which is okay when you're in the 30s, but obviously as you hit your 40s, and metabolism is nowhere near what it used to be. And I have had depression before in the past. Not just mild depression, not deep depression, but I remember what helped get me over that. Not only talking about it, but also getting active. The physical exercise I found was a huge link. And what you eat and how you look after your body. So there's been about 2 years, I suppose, leading up to the time I saw you, where I started running and doing things, but I was only ever half committed. It got too cold, wouldn't do it. So then months would go past, go for another run. So I think I saw there was a comedian recently talking about running. Someone posted on RDM, and they go for the yearly run.
Yeah, that's right.
I was pretty close to that. And then I'd look at the different challenges around, and I thought I tried to connect to a couple, but I don't think psychologically I was engaging enough or getting into it. And it's funny, I don't know, you talk about karma or connection in life. I think about the time I saw your advertising. Was the time I was really seriously thinking I need to do something. If I don't do something, I'm going down a bad road. I need to do something psychologically and physically. So that's why I reached out. I mean, I think you showed a podcast of one of the dads you'd been working on who had a lot of back issues, etc., and he was out playing cricket with his kids. And I thought, well, it's worth a try. And I reached out to you, and I remember we had we set up a call and we had the initial conversation and you asked me, am I committed? And I gave the half-assed answer of 60%. And you challenged me on that, and that's what I liked about it, right? Because you were challenging me, and I think you sort of connected that I needed to be challenged, right? And I didn't know what I was doing. And that connected, and about the same time as that, as a colleague, a friend had a stroke who was 60, only 10 years older than me, or 11, and it was all happening at the same time. And I thought, well, no, if I don't do something now, I'm never going to do something, right? Next thing, I'll be 60, then I'll be 70, then I'll be 80. So, yeah, I decided that I'd 100% commit to you, and I did that. I have been doing that, and it's changed a lot. Just not physical. I mean, the physical is a huge benefit. Lost a lot of weight, therefore I can move. Put on a lot of strength, therefore I can be strong. Just the education, the eating. You can be educated in many things, but I wasn't educated on how to look after myself. And through you, Shannon, etc., I've learned about nutrition. It's not about being a monk, but the right times to eat things, the wrong times to eat things. And then you made also a comment, I think, when we were first getting into it, about these things becoming a habit. And it does become a habit. I think now it's... I know when those little self-doubts come in, it's the habit that kicks in and gets me motivated. That's something I never had. So it's
just becomes a part of who you are, mate. And it's not easy. And isn't it funny, mate, like what you touched on there, and looking at people who are willing to invest in everything else outside of themselves but themselves, especially fathers. It's like, there's so many different things.
You said it once in regards to, recently, if you don't invest in if you're not 100% invested in yourself, you're not going to be invested in others. And I've found that, right? So I do more with the kids now than I've ever done, even though I'm exercising and doing things for myself. So I became a nippers coach, take them to the park a lot. I'm out there running, flying a kite, teach them how to ride a bike. I find more hours in the day because my mind's motivated. I'm not dwelling on things. I'm not sitting there procrastinating. I probably don't do things around the house as much as I should still, but I do a lot more.
Likewise, mate. I put my hand up for that. Friend listening to this.
And that's it. I do a lot more, and I try not to put things off so much anymore. That's both in at home and working, etc. I find myself a bit more proactive in life than reactive, I suppose. And I'm a pretty cruisy guy. Always have been. I think sometimes that cruisiness has also caused me a bit too laid back, a bit too procrastinating sometimes. And one thing I've learned on this journey too, it's the body, it's the nutrition, it's the mind. The mind plays a huge aspect of this, right? And I have bad days, but I don't dwell on those days for days on end. I don't let them eat me up as much as possible. I get over them quicker. And I learned how to compartmentalize things. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
A bit better.
I won't try and say it, mate, because I'll probably muff it as well. Yes.
That's a huge win. So. And it's funny because, when I started the challenge with you, it was a 28-day challenge. And then you said, if you want to keep continuing, let's continue. And I did. And now I'm at 9 months, and I know if I walked away from this now, I'd still struggle. That's not because I'm not strong. It's because I've still got so much to learn, right, within myself and outside. So I find it, it's my thing for me, and love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that, mate, and appreciate the plug. I'll send that money to you later, mate. But it's so true though, Pete, because people look at it, and the biggest thing is not only do you feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, you feel like this is something that you do, and you could walk away and you're still strong, but it's something where you feel like you've got so much more to learn, but it also opens your eyes to what's possible as well, mate. There's so much more that we can achieve, that we can all achieve together in our own right. And that's one of the big things that you'll know that I'm big on. Not settling in life, and being resilient, which is, like you said, overcoming those down days, which we all have, in a quicker way to move us forward to where we want to get to, which you know, a lot of these realizations would have, you look back now, would have been hitting home without knowing the answer or the pathway of the way forward. When that fella died at work, mate, 60, so young.
Yeah.
You know.
And it wasn't like he was unfit either. It was just, you know, and it, having lost my parents, and they were in their late 50s both, it's, you know, I don't want the kids to go through what I did. It wasn't like, it wasn't a horrible life. I actually had a fantastic life. But I want to be there for them into their adult life, and you know, I've got to give myself the best chance. I don't know. I can't predict that I'm going to get hit by a bus, whatever, but can certainly try and give my best shot in regards to health and give it all. So that's part of that. And part of it's just being a better dad too, instead of being you know, angry after work. Be less angry.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Oh, absolutely, mate. How do you feel that the kids have benefited from the changes that you've made, mate? Like, how does it affect their life, and how do you feel it will as they get older?
Yeah, well, I think they see me exercising. That's number one. They ask questions about what I do. Little Will tries to copy bench tips and a few things. We were at the park.
Yeah.
He's doing chin-ups and stuff. But, you know, it's, you know, they say it's by habit, right? That's how kids learn. And they set an example. I don't force them to do anything, but my daughter's keenly interested in my jogs and wants to join me and do little jogs together. Right? So it's sort of steps into them. It's in the diets. You know, we start cutting out things like white bread. We talk more things about sugar, and they become awareness about what's sugary and what's not sugary. Ask questions. Is that sugar? Is that not sugar? And just for the fact they ask questions. I don't deny them going to a birthday party and having mollies, but you know, at home we do better in regards to what we've got lying around, and they still have treats, but they see it, and they see that I'm more active. I think I've got a better relationship with them. So less tired dad and more like I always try and get home on time to get them to bed, read them a book, spend that time with them each day. May not see them in the morning every day, but it's I think my relationship's pretty tips.
Because they don't miss a beat, do they, Pete? They don't miss anything. Like you said, just asking you what you're doing with your training, your exercise, or like for those of you listening, we've got a game going at the moment, winter wars with different teams and the dads, and one of the challenges I gave out was, I think 48 hours they had to do 100 push-ups and video it and stuff like that. Just seeing that, like that is, even if they don't speak the words to you or you don't communicate to them, they're taking in exactly what you're doing, and it will contextualize and piece together everything that forms up when they start doing sport at school or other things. Like, oh yeah, my daddy used to do that years ago, or even if they don't say that, they know it, mate. It's a part of who they are.
Yeah. No, it is, and we talk about it. My son loves Bondi Rescue. Give the Bondi Rescue a plug, but he just loves it. They're just like to him, they're his heroes, right? All the guys on Bondi Rescue, and he talks about nippers, and he talks about going down the beach and becoming a lifesaver, and he wants to be a Bondi Rescue man. And he starts talking about what I've got to do that, and exercise and stuff. It's awesome. It's awesome to see, man, because you know, it might be just a little 5-year-old talking, but I don't know whether I make a difference to that, but I just love the way he looks at guys who are really fit and healthy, and looks at them as aspirational. It's great.
It doesn't just stop there, Pete. That's for sure, mate. Because I remember I started soccer when I was 3, being a big lad in under 6s. So by the time I was 6, I was obviously dominating the sport because I was an even bigger lad, and I had 3 years under the belt. And I was the old man being Italian. Helped a lot with soccer, but I still remember saying to him that I want to do this. I want to play soccer for Australia, Dad, and I want to do this, this, and that. And I do remember that between the ages of like 4.5 to 6, when I was just living and breathing that. And one thing that rings true, especially on my down days, mate, was not so much the accolades and the performance of scoring X amount of goals every game, blah, blah, blah. It was Dad's belief and remembering going to the park with him and kicking the ball around with him, and him saying, Al, you can do anything you want in this world if you put your mind to it. And geez, that's helped me so much, mate. Not just in sport and health and fitness, but just in life. When I have those down moments, I think of that, and it hits my heart all the time. Even right now, I'm like, anytime when I face a challenge and I hear that, because one day I'm not going to hear my father's voice, you know, and that's something that's real for me, and I understand that. And it's a hard period, and mate, you've gone through it at an earlier stage in your life, and Jesus, look how you've come out, mate, which is credit to you, Pete. And it's it really does ring true with the stuff that we give, say or don't say to our children, but act, and the actions we show them that will forge who they become, mate. And that's a big part of them.
Yeah, yeah, it's true, Al. And I look, I remember back as a kid too. It's the difference between encouragement and not encouragement affects you a lot. So I played footy, Australian rules, that is, the real football.
Yes, oh geez, mate, I should have played that. Bloody hell, rugby league.
Under 12, under 13s, and we had a coach who played all the really well. Like, I was 6 foot when I was 13, right? So I was not coordinated. I was like a piece of spaghetti. So I sat on the bench a lot, right? I sat on the field. I didn't get a lot of kicks, and I didn't play a lot. And at the same time, I played basketball and had a coach that always played every kid, no matter what. And I went on to like basketball, the passion for basketball. I love basketball, right? But I played anymore. But to me, it's at that age, right through to about your teenage years, it's the positive approach. It's the people, as you say, who give the affirmation and push you that makes a huge difference, right?
Mm.
And I think it's a coach, it's a dad. You just got to be that positive role model and not drag them down. Let them, as you said, be what they're going to be. Let them dream. If they dream, they'll turn it into reality.
Absolutely, mate. Yep. And then somewhere along the line, as fathers, we seem to just either not engage as much, or team get-togethers in sports or revolve around drinking or other half-hearted things. But it's interesting, mate, because like you said, then having the coach or a father or people around you to help mentor and motivate you and keep you accountable, that seems to disappear, which is why I feel, even as we get older, especially as dads, there's no rule book to this. There's no rule book to how to be the best father in the world, but environment plays a big role, mate, which I feel very passionate about, as I'm sure you do with RDM and the environment we have with other fathers.
Yeah, it is. And it's great to see the different stories coming from other fathers. Everyone's got a different story in life. But in the end, if kids are a huge focus. And I do remember the day Olivia was born, the oldest child. I remember vividly in the hospital room with her in her crib, looking at her. And the first thought in my head was, oh my God, I've got to look after you for the rest of my life. It was just daunting. Right?
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. It was life-changing in regards to the fear. It wasn't like a bad fear. It was just like, there is no part-time here. You're not going back. It's like, I'm your dad. Right?
It's so amazing, isn't it? When that just happens, it's literally, people tell you all about it and no one knows it. And then when it happens, it's like, oh, here we go then. It's gone from something that's in the womb, which you're connected to, but you don't, and then it's out and then it's on.
And Livy, my daughter, just started doing pre-squat in swimming. And I was watching her do that. She's growing up. So, she's gone for this little baby that I was teaching in the pool. So now doing about 30 laps in her pre-squat training and thinking, yep. And then I'll blink again and she'll be 18. That's it. But, I still like to enjoy life. But balance, I think I've got a better balance in life these days. And I've still got friends, and I think I influence my friends too. There's lots of questions about this push-up challenge for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be good fun, mate. Good fun. I wouldn't mind just touching on one of the performance goals that you've achieved and what you've changed. So before you jumped into RDM, what was your running like, and where is it now? Just one thing, just your run. Like, what sort of run can you do?
I could probably do, before I did RDM, I could probably do 2 or 3 Ks at the most non-stop. Before I'd have to walk, get puffed out and sore. Now I can do a comfortable 10K run. The difference being not only fitness, but weight loss, obviously. I don't have the pressure on the joints, the knees, the feet. Learning how to stretch, I think, has helped a lot in doing that. But I can kick a 5K as a really quick run now. I can do a 10K, and I could probably do more, but it's usually a time. But up until RDM, I tried and tried. It was always this dream to get to a 10, 12K run. But, I'd get to 3K and stop, And I think, too, it was mentally as well. I'd just say, oh, no, that's enough. Got to stop. And I find now that with the running and also the gym, you just got to try and get yourself into a zone where you push past the thing in your brain, so you can stop.
Yeah.
And then if you learn how to do it, suddenly you feel like you're in a meditative headspace. I get that way now running, where K's just click by and I'm not conscious of it.
Yeah.
It's me, the ground, the music.
Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah, it's times like that as well, isn't it? When you're training, you hear that voice, all those things, and that's what I say to some people and some of the dads. Don't think you don't have to think. Or sometimes where that voice is coming from is a version or a person in there that doesn't have your best interest at heart, even when it's yourself.
That's right.
You just got to keep
it's the
going.
same voice that I've heard many times in life. If it wasn't fitness, it was the same voice. And I've always been one in my work time to take on a challenge. So when I've been offered positions that are out of my comfort zone, I've taken it. It's been extremely difficult because I do get anxious, but I've learned how to control it and move on. I think it's the same with fitness. It's just something I had to be educated in fitness. You can get anxious about the challenge, or you can just go and try and do it. And it's like when I first did talk to you about chin-ups, and you had chin-ups on the pull-ups and chin-ups on the training. I said, God, I can't do them. I just can't do them. But you said something about if you can't, you won't. And I think I showed footage of a guy who was a lot older than me doing them. So then I thought, well, why can't I? I should be able to. So I kept practicing, and then I could do them. Right? And I think it was when I stopped thinking too much about it, and I started doing it. It's a bit the same. It's like working life, and I stop overthinking it and just do it. I do it. Didn't fail. I do well. Move on. And promoting it, same with the fitness. Well, I don't think about it too much. I just do it. I do it well, move on, and grow for it. So it's that's one thing I said. Is don't overthink it. Just do it.
Absolutely, mate. And that's I remember with one of our conversations. I think it was might have been one of the roundtables. We're talking wins and challenges, as we do with our dad's wins and challenges for the week. And I think one of them, you were like, didn't have time, so I just went out and did a quick 5 or a quick 7K run, and we just all started laughing. It's just the way in which, the context in which the way you said it was hilarious. Because like, oh, this is Pete who couldn't put together 2 to 3 Ks at once. Who just ran out of time or was getting dark quickly, so I just had to knock over a quick 5 or 7K or whatever it was. It's unreal, mate. Just that, just like you said, the mindset, just who you are now.
It is, and you just do it, and it's part. I enjoy it. Makes me feel good. If I can do the exercise, I try and do a lot of the gym work in the morning because it starts the day well, as you say. But if I can't do it in the morning, I'll try and do it at lunchtime, and if I can't do that, I'll do the run or whatever it not. So it's I think learning how to the whole just do it, stop overthinking it, just find time to do it. Right? If it doesn't work out one time, then do it later. That's what I found, and that helps me too in my work. It's just obviously I've got to think about things when I'm engineering it, but don't overthink the issue. Just look at you've got the history, you've got the ability, you've got the experience. Get into it.
Definitely, mate. Absolutely, and it's one which now you're one of the leaders in our group, Pete, and setting an amazing standard for everyone else, especially the new dads, and sharing your story. And what's next? What's on the horizons for Pete Dunlop, and what holds true in the future, mate, for you, and what you want to achieve and where you want to get to?
Well, look, I'll definitely staying with RDM. I mean, that's just the base of my life. But it's always thinking about things as a family. And what's our next thing, and you're thinking about Megs and I are always looking how we're going to move, what are we going to do. We're around the same area, but as part of that, looking at the family, looking at changing houses, that sort of stuff. In regards to myself, I've got in the back of my head trying to think of, there was once a time I was passionate about doing things like climbing the Everest Base Camp. I wouldn't mind giving things like a coated trail or something a crack. And I think now I've got the ability to do it. It's just now trying to put the thoughts about when and putting it into action. So if not that, then the Tassie Overlander, just, bigger things that I've, I suppose, not done over the last 10 years, whereas previous to that, I used to do a lot of that sort of more adventurous, not dangerous, but bigger walks and more foreign places.
Yeah, unreal, mate.
And one thing I used to do a lot was dive. Just be into tech scuba diving.
Mm.
Talked about that, but I used to get down to shipwrecks down around 55, 60 metres and got to travel a bit of the world on that sort of stuff, and was right into it. And then I'm not saying the kids were responsible, but sort of just for kids, stopped doing it and then used it as an excuse, and then haven't done it in about 8 years.
Mm.
And so now as part of my head, I've looked at some of the equipment I've still got in the shed, and it's starting to talk to me again.
Yeah, nice. That'd be awesome.
And so I'm thinking about getting back into that too.
Mm.
Just ignite some of that. And I've been getting into the bands with some dads from the primary school my girl daughter goes to. It's reigniting things I haven't done for quite a while. So I play bass. So
back in the boy band and bass. Yes. That's awesome, mate. Yes. Good.
And I find it goes back to, I find I can do that and still spend a lot of time with the family. It's not eating into that. It's just, you just realise that it's time that you're probably in the past just sitting there watching TV.
Yeah, incredible, mate. Incredible the difference in, like you said, purely from a time point of view, how you feel you can allocate and utilize the time that we all have, instead of feeling like you don't have enough. You're actually doing more than you ever have for yourself and for your kids, and with extracurricular type stuff and recreational activities.
Yep.
And you're handling it better than you ever thought you would have.
That's right. That's right, man. And it's we went back to, I think we had a conversation, because you go back to, I want to dwell on my age, but we're talking about the age difference between yourself and myself, and I've never looked at you as being someone who's younger. I've just looked at someone who's highly skilled and knowledgeable in what you do, right? And you impart a huge positive vibe and a can-do attitude, which I needed at the time, and I still need, and it's great. And it's just something that gelled with me. I'm sure there's others like you out there that people might connect, but it's what connected with me.
I appreciate it, Pete. Thanks, mate. I'll never stop, mate, because your success is mine, and that's what I'm massively passionate about. And this isn't an advertisement by any means for dads. I mean, guys, people listening to this will almost certainly be able to see access and have access to me anywhere and everywhere to find what I'm about. But what would be your advice, Pete, to a dad who will be listening right now, and he may be fit, he may not, he may be a bit out of whack, out of shape, or mentally struggling a bit? Like, what would be your advice to someone who feels like they've, I don't know, I guess lost themselves a little bit to a degree, or they're struggling? Like, what would you say to them?
I don't think you're on your own. I think there's a lot of dads who are in exactly the same boat, or have been in the same boat. Just through my journey on this, I've found that my journey, as unique as I thought it was, seems to be a common voice throughout many a dads. And don't put it off, because I tell you, it doesn't get easier when you're 50. Things do creak more and do feel a bit more stiff in the morning. And it's just, you just get on. I don't overthink it, because it's not a commitment. You don't overthink about the thing for life. You just think about that you've got to get moving. And it's some of the stuff I try to tell some of the new dads. It's don't look at someone who can run 10K and stuff. I didn't start off that way. You just got to just look at moving and doing something and cutting something out and changing some of your habits. And then you'll find they'll roll onto other habits. So if I could talk to any of the dads out there that may listen and may be thinking about it, just get active. Because by getting active, you'll find that your mind will get clearer and things will get better.
Absolutely. The man. Wealth of knowledge, Pete. It's
not really. 9 months of knowledge.
No, all the other areas of your life, mate. I'm going to have to come down to Melbourne, mate, and have a look at how these machines get made. It'd be unreal if you'd have me, mate, and take me out for a tour. That'd be great.
It's pretty secretive, mate. You have to give me one of those mind flashes once you finish.
Yeah, okay. It's like the Men in Black. Yes, that's it. Oh, cracker.
It is awesome. One of those jobs, though, man. You can. A lot of friends ask what I'm working on, and you can't tell them. Just got to smile.
Yeah, yeah.
Same cars.
yeah, absolutely. No, I understand, mate. Oh, for sure. It's pretty incredible what you do, mate. Yeah. Definitely. But look, well, thanks for jumping on today, Pete, and sharing your story, mate, and a bit of your background about fatherhood and being an older father, I guess. I mean, there's obviously fathers out there that are older, but having kids at a later stage and imparting some of your wisdom and experiences, not just with myself and RDM, but from your line of view, which I agree, mate. Don't overthink stuff and just start by putting one foot in front of the other, and those sorts of things that can really lay a bigger foundation and platform from which people can launch into the change that they want in their life. I think it's important.
Yeah. No, thanks. Oh, thanks for giving me the chance.
Pleasure, mate.
Mumbling my way through the.
You're a very, very cruisy and charismatic man, mate, all at once. It all flowed well. It was great. But look, thanks again, guys, for either watching this or listening to this. Hope you've gotten plenty out of today's episode with Pete, and where you can come from to move forward into the direction of the life that you truly want, especially you dads out there. You don't have to go it alone, and you're not alone in how you're feeling and the things that you're going through. And there's always a choice. There's always a way forward. And, sometimes that's just around the corner for you, and putting one foot in front of the other and taking some action and starting to move yourself forward. So thanks again for joining us, Pete.
No worries.
Appreciate it, mate. Thank you guys for jumping on today's show. Hope you all enjoyed, and catch you on the next one. If I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Thanks, guys. Thanks, mate. See you guys.